In Japan, new religious movements are called Shinko Shukyo, or newly risen religions. The first group to be characterized as a new religion in Japan was Nyairaikyo, founded in 1802 by a peasant woman, Kino Isan. Movements rooted in Shinto followed, including Kurutsumikyo and Tenrikyo, as well as the Nichiren Buddhist sect Honmon Butsuryushu. Kuromitsukyo, founded in 1814 by Munetada Kurotsumi, focused on the worship of Amaterasu, the sun goddess, and regarded all Shinto kami as manifestations of the supreme goddess. They practiced Nippai, or the ritual worship of the sun at sunrise, and believed that they could channel the power of Amaterasu to heal. Spirit healing is, in fact, a regular feature of Japanese new religions. Small numbers of new religions developed through the 1920s and 1930s, often rooted in Shinto or Buddhism. Geratsukai, for example, was created in 1929 by Seikan Okanu to blend esoteric Shingon Buddhism with Shinto practices and beliefs. Geratsukai required worship of both the universal life force associated with Shinto and the Mahavairocana Buddha. Ine Kenyu Kiyota brought the practice to California in the 1930s and taught and practiced Geratsukai at the Tule Lake camp while Japanese Americans were interned during the Second World War. After World War II, the Japanese Constitution guaranteed religious freedom from state control, and this resulted in the proliferation of new religions that bled membership from the traditional religions. Soko Gakkai was an early standout in this era. Happy science was part of a surge in new religious activity in the 1970s and 1980s, driven in part by concern about the impending end of the millennium. We talked about the GLA and Aum Shinrikyo as well as happy science, but there were also Shinyoen, Mahikari, Agonshu, and Byakko Shinkokai. Agonshu was one of the first to popularize the predictions of Nostradamus, although its founder, Seiyu Kiriyama, focused on the Buddhist agamas. Kiriyama performed fire rituals to purge bad karma and pacify the spirits of the dead, and claimed that the Buddha had given him the mantle of the leader of universal Buddhism. Presaging happy science, he hired a public relations company to promote his work. These movements shared a few themes in common as identified with Muhammad Jahangir Alam and Abdus Samad in the Journal of Japanese Studies. These religions tended to worry over the rise of materialism, the threat of a millenarian impending apocalypse, and to preach a shift in spirituality to save and renew the world. These new religions remained ascendant through the sarin gas attack in the Tokyo subway that not only brought down Aum Shinrikyo, but generally tarnished the reputation of new religions in Japan, including happy science and Agonshu, despite the often substantial differences between Aum Shinrikyo and these other groups. This is not to suggest that other groups were completely innocent of fraud and deception. Consider Honohana Sankpogyo. Hogen Fukunaga claimed to be a reincarnation of Christ and the Buddha, and charged $900 to read the soles of people's feet. Fukunaga used threats and intimidation to get his members to sign up for expensive training classes in his foot-reading techniques, amounting to 150 million yen in fees, and was charged, along with 15 of his group's senior members, with fraud, and sentenced to 12 years in prison. On part 2 of our exploration of happy science, we consider the group's theology, and try to place it somewhere on the continuum of Japanese new religions, between the poles of beneficial and just plain bad. Let's get into the doctrine and lore, but it's going to take us a little time. You guys all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. The doctrine and lore of happy science are varied, and perhaps, as the reborn Buddha suggests, not wholly consistent. Borrowing a term from Takahashi, Okawa wrote that we exist in the phenomenal three-dimensional world here on Earth, with spiritual entities existing in higher dimensions. The fourth dimension is time, the fifth is spirituality, and the sixth is knowledge of God. We're not done. The seventh is altruism and is characterized by love and service. The gospel writers Matthew and Mark exist in the seventh dimension. Again, the blend of Western and Eastern. Mm-hmm. In the eighth, we find the archangels Michael and Gabriel, as well as Aristotle and Einstein. He loves scientists.
He's there.
Happy
He really
science.
does. I mean, in one of the animes, I think Graham Bell was there.
Yes.
For some reason. Yeah.
The ninth is the transcendent dimension that encompasses the others but goes beyond the limits of the earth. Our gods derive from this ninth dimension. The 10th dimension is that of the grand sun consciousness, moon consciousness, and earth consciousness. These govern earth in some way, but they do not incarnate. And of course, there's further dimensions beyond this about which little is said or perhaps known. Let's talk about the laws of the sun, Julian.
My favorite.
The animated movie version, which Julian teased us a little on,
my God.
of Okawa's Laws of the Sun, opens by saying that the higher dimensions were formed before the Big Bang, and that eternal Buddha caused the Big Bang, which formed the stars, and the stars had consciousness. Now, this is part of a Mahayana Buddha tradition, Happy Science, which holds that the historical Buddha is a guy, and he lived, but there is an ideal, perfect, eternal Buddha of which he is, an incarnation or something, some derivative thereof.
It's like a part of his spirit goes down to Earth.
Yeah, an avatar, yeah.
Yeah.
So that eternal Buddha caused the Big Bang, which formed the stars. The stars are conscious, pan-consciousness. In an article on Happy Science written for the Japanese Journal of Religious Studies back in 1995, Trevor Astley, synthesizing Okawa, named El Mayari as the first divine spirit to arrive on Earth in order to bring advanced animal life forms into being. The Laws of the Sun has this event happening on, say it with me now, Julian, Venus.
Mm-hmm.
The planet
happens on
chosen,
Venus.
That's where all the good stuff happened back in the day. This was the planet. Now, astrologically, Venus is very similar to Earth.
Oh, it definitely could.
But for the sulfur in the air and all, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Apparently, you grow cattails if you live on Venus.
So the planet chosen by the eternal Buddha to receive life was Venus. Early Venusian life was a blend of plants and animals pictured as walking flowers in the animation. Mm-hmm. Then humans were created who built an advanced civilization capable of visiting other planets and living by what Okawa defined as the four principles of happiness, love, knowledge, reflection, and development. We've gone through these. Having achieved harmony through the Venusian experiment, Eternal Buddha told El Mayari that it had to end because their evolution had reached a conclusion. So Venus was a success, but now we have to trash it.
Yep.
We've reached our evolutionary
Too
pinnacle.
successful.
It's too good.
And, the Hindu Buddhist paradigm is that we must keep evolving spiritually in order to return to God. So that's sort of the logic underneath this. So the Venusians were sent out to other planets, and Venus was engulfed in volcanic ash and sulfur, as it's known today. Mm-hmm. Some Venusians were sent to Earth, where the evolutionary process would be more open-ended, because an environment had been created there to accommodate eternal evolution. Welcome, friends, to eternal evolution. Oh, I want to put that over the door. Venusian souls.
Welcome. Eternal evolution.
Welcome to eternal evolution. Venusian souls were brought to Earth, where they were endowed with wisdom, courage, grace, and compassion, and became human beings. The ninth dimensional spiritual masters, Amor, Therabim, and Moria, who I don't think that's El Moria. There's a little bit of confusion. The doctrine has changed.
Yeah, it's kind of shifted.
But they're very similar, the names. And Master Moria is one of the theosophical spirits that Blavatsky spoke to, so I think that's interesting. But Amor, Therabim, and Moria, they got together, they had a little council, and determined that the time was not right for the Venusians to rule Earth, since there were already dinosaurs literally, all over the place. And
I remember in the movie, they were really, really awful to the dinosaurs. They caused the extinction of dinosaurs.
So
what the fuck,
with
man?
guns, yeah.
Now, Julian, that's not the Venusians who did that. That's the
My bad.
Magellanic.
That
yes,
was the Magellanic, who
Yes.
were also
Yes.
Venusians at one point.
Yes. So this is what happened, Mims. So there's dinosaurs all over, right? So these divine spirits get together and they're like, oh gosh, we brought all these Venusians here, but they're totally going to get stepped on. What should we do? So they call up the Magellanic races. They live in the Magellanic Cloud somewhere in space, and they're warlike, this race of people. But they're also really egotistical. So,
Of course.
so they bring them in to like murder the dinosaurs, as Julian's saying.
Yeah.
Get
Put
things
a pin
under control.
in their egotisticalness, and we'll come back later in the story.
We'll swing back around, but first we got
Yes.
to genocide some dinosaurs.
They brought in other immigrant groups as well from other parts of the universe who brought additional spirit masters, including Zeus and Samatria, better known as Zoroaster. But these space immigrants were vastly outnumbered by the natives of the solar system, and so the Council of Spirit Masters decided to create a Pytron. That's Pytron. It's not a word I've encountered before.
No.
A Pytron to multiply the souls of the immigrants. Some magical device.
It's cloning.
That's true. Spiritual cloning.
Yeah.
So the humans created by the Pytron, however, were too focused on material pleasures, and so when they died, their spirits created the spiritual dimension we call hell. A vainglorious leader from the Magellanic Cloud managed to incarnate on Earth and rose to become a kind of king. But he was jealous of the Magellanic people's old leader, Enlil, which, as I recall, is a Babylonian god, and was eventually cast into hell. There,
We got back to the point.
so let me do that one more time because, my Satanists out there, I don't want you to miss that your guy is in this lore.
He's here.
We have our Magellanic Cloud people. Remember, they're egotistical, they're warlike, they kill the dinosaurs. So
Those bastards.
Those bastards. Otherwise, we'd all be riding a Triceratops to work. They have a leader who managed to incarnate on Earth and rose to become a kind of king. So he wasn't necessarily meant to come to Earth, but, he
It just kind of happened.
did some sneaky, spiritual hijinks and got incarnated on Earth. He became a king of the Magellanic people. He didn't like their old leader, who was this Babylonian god, or named after a Babylonian god, or the god was named after him. And so the spirit masters of Earth took this guy and cast him into hell. There, he staged a rebellion against the heavenly spirits. Sound familiar? Satan. The masters cut hell off from the light and energy of the sun, forcing the denizens of hell to seek energy by feeding off of the negative impulses of people on Earth. This is those dark clouds in the anime movie.
Yeah.
Is the dark hell spirits coming up and sapping our energy. Mm-hmm. When they do this corrupts the living through their influence and drags more souls down into hell, creating a vicious cycle that expands the ranks of evil, hungry ghosts in hell. Cataclysms are then used to break up the power of these hell spirits, and then God and the ninth dimensional spirits go to Earth or send avatars to elevate the people.
Which, by the way, like, you have all of these godheads being like, oh, what do we do to fix this problem? Oh, let's kill the people who are being possessed by the demons. That'll solve the issue. Let's not try and enlighten them. No, let's just kill them all.
Yeah, like the hell spirits are just everywhere. Let's wipe everybody out. Just start over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's classic. It's biblical.
Yeah, I was about to say it's very Old Testament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the legendary and perhaps mythical occult figure Hermes was a subsequent avatar, as well as the Sakyamuni Buddha, but El Cantare is not the only ninth dimensional spirit to manifest. Amor Moria and Therabim have also come to Earth. Amor was Jesus Christ, Moria, Moses, Therabim, Confucius. There's one more guy. I mean, there's a bunch more guys. But another spirit, El Ranti. Sorry.
Ranty.
El Ranti. He became Allah And Elranti and Amor guided Lamieux, the king of a pre-Atlantean civilization that sunk into the sea and whose survivors came to Atlantis, but also Asia.
Yeah, it was also Asia, but also in Atlantis. Because after the Asian continent fell, they went all to Atlantis.
I'll say there's tons of theosophy in this, stuff. I don't know that Okawa is a reader of Blavatsky because Blavatsky had been so diffused through the New Age at this point. But there's just a ton of
just
theosophy.
So many, little...
Yeah. So Lamieux was a great spiritual teacher who taught his people, who, by the way, worshipped the sun and had harnessed solar power, as shown in the movie. They all have solar panels.
They all have solar technology.
Don't they have, flying cars and stuff, too?
Yeah. They have, running water.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's great. Atlantis was badass.
That sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah. Running water and flying cars. What else do you need? Solar panels.
Well, no, this was the one, this was the land in Asia. We are not to Atlantis yet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We're pre-Atlantis.
Pre-Atlantis.
And pre-Asia
civilization. This is a random continent that doesn't exist. That's kind of in Thailand.
Yes. So they worship the sun. They harness its power. They have faith in a non-material God. And they have love and compassion for each other. But Lamieux's teachings were forgotten over time, prompting the continent to sink. Atlantis was in turn ruled by Thoth, and their great civilization transmitted their teachings to Egypt, Thoth, right, and points westward after their own decline. These cataclysms are framed as a reaction by the Earth's own consciousness, which rejects humans who have fallen out of line with a loving spiritual path. Earth itself rejects us.
Yep.
Whew, got to be careful of that. The Atlanteans arrive in the Americas on airships, again, Blavatsky, and establish a new civilization that was in time deceived by reptilian aliens.
Yep.
Fuck. Yes.
Lots and lots of new agey stuff going on here. These reptilians masqueraded as gods and demanded animal and human sacrifices of the peoples of the Americas. So they're oppressing our indigenous peoples. They planned an invasion of Earth, but such a takeover was illegal. So they're
doing illegal stuff, but that's too illegal.
So there's a few of them on Earth, is what I'm trying to say. This is pretty much like, reptilian theory, right, as it exists in the conspiracy universe. There's a few of them on Earth, the Zuckerbergs of the world, ruling over us and deceiving us. But the idea is for all the reptilians to come on down and take us over.
But they can't because it's illegal.
It's illegal, according to interplanetary law, because...
Can't do it.
As long as there is... Now, Mims, you can rest easy. As long as there's harmony on Earth... they can't invade us.
Oh, thank God.
So what are they going to do? What is their plan, Mims? If there's harmony on Earth, they can't invade. So what do they have to do?
Bring chaos. Which,
yes. Sow discord amongst us. Yikes. Then
I don't know how they're going to manage that.
Right.
It's so hard.
Right. It's fantastic, right? Because happy science can just point around like anybody can and be like, look at that. Look over there. That's a sign that the reptilians are sowing discord. And apparently planning the plot of the first, all 9 seasons of My Little Pony. Then the Incan king, Reint Aurel Crowd. Let me say that one more time. The Incan king, Reint Aurel Crowd, he revealed the truth of the reptilians' plan and how the love of God and of others could save the people. Right? And you won't be disharmonious. He taught them to turn inward to find God within themselves. An important part of the laws of the Laws movie, I should say, focuses on the Buddha's enlightenment. This is what Julian was talking about. There's a huge segment at the end. Yeah. Establishing the degree to which happy science endeavors to be a Buddhist movement. I think the first hour is what we've covered so far. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of it is just Buddha. It's all the Buddha. So it starts with the Buddha's confrontation with Mara in front of the Bodhi tree. And this is much longer than any other scene in the film. And then there's a subsequent scene that continues to the end of the Buddha's ministry he ascends to the top. This is where it gets very strange. So
This is where it gets strange?
oh, sorry, yeah.
No, this is actually where it gets really, really weird.
Theologically, this is where it gets strange, Mims, I should say. So let me just say a little bit about the historical Buddha before I do this. And I've said this before, I'm just as a reminder. What scholars understand about the man, Siddhartha Gautama, the Sakyamuni Buddha, what we tend to believe actually happened, is that he did sit under a tree of some kind for some duration, achieved a form of enlightenment as he defined it, and then proceeded to have a ministry that lasted until he was about 80 years old. At that point, as we understand it, he was a vegetarian and promoted vegetarianism, but he ate meat because he would go door to door, right? He would preach to people, and he would live off, whatever the family had to feed him. So he was a vegetarian, but he wasn't a dick about it. So he would occasionally eat meat.
If somebody was like, "Here, this is the only food we have," he would eat the meat.
Yes, and he got food poisoning, and he died at 80. And the story goes that he lay down and he simply turned over, and he died. So it was a very peaceful death. However, this is what we see in the Happy Science movie. So we watch the whole scene of the Buddha's enlightenment, Mara, and the dancing girls and the family life and all these sorts of things that the Buddha rejects. Then we're at the end of his ministry. He ascends to the top of a golden pyramid in the sight of his followers. They're all sort of sitting on this cliffside.
And also all of the followers followed him throughout the movie as the different incarnations of him.
So what Julian's saying is, when we're watching the scene of the Buddha, the movie implies that everything we've watched up to this point, which has been the history of time, right? The history of the universe up to this moment, Hermes, we've seen scenes of Hermes and, Lamu and all this sort of stuff. All these guys, and what was his name? Reinkt Arl Crowd. All these guys were the Buddha, pre-incarnated. And all of his disciples and friends around him in each of these lifetimes return again and again and again, and each time they're a little less of a dick. Anyway, they're all watching on the cliffside as the Buddha ascends to the top of a golden pyramid, and he tells them not to worship a distant god, but rather to find their Buddha nature or eternal Buddha within themselves. A fairly lovely and not dangerous idea, I think.
No.
Unspoken but heavily implied is that they will also find it within each other. The movie sort of pans around right from their faces. The Buddha promises to descend again, mark your calendars, 2,500 years from now. In the wake of great disaster and essentially what the Buddhists call Mappo or apocalypse. A montage suggests that Buddha is not only Okawa, but also all, as Julian's saying, of the heroes that we've seen so far. Whew. I got one more thing I got to do. As a way of closing, anything else you want to add about that movie, Julian?
Oh, man, there was so much. I mean, it was just... Again, it was the first 20 minutes, I had to keep pausing because I was like, what are they talking about? And then as soon as they got into the Lamu stuff, I was like, I had to turn it up to 2 times speed.
It's a deep lore dump.
Yeah, and then it just took forever.
Yeah. The pacing is very strange. Yeah, they just dump... It's like a badly constructed, Marvel movie or something, right?
Yeah.
They dump all this lore at the beginning. Well, she's got spider powers because, back in 1975, they had a nuclear experiment. And over here, Dr. Strangelove was inventing that. So they dump all this lore on you. And then
the movie starts. And then you're they take forever to get to the point.
20 minutes of, Spider Girl, just hanging out at gym class, right? So the pacing is very strange.
Yeah.
But it's also not a Marvel movie because there is a single protagonist, but that's sort of the twist at the end is that you've been watching the same guy, but you don't know it.
Yeah.
So let's get into to exactly what Okawa came to mean to the group. This is my last section. And this overlaps with Happy Science's concept of God. Okawa died like a few years ago now at this point.
Yeah, I think probably like 5 years.
5 years ago.
Yeah. I can't remember. Did he die before or after COVID?
That's a very good question, because then the COVID stuff would not be his fault.
Yeah.
Let me look that up. Okawa.
And I know like his daughter took it over. Or someone in his family took it over.
Just not his son.
2023, so it is his fault. He was 66, so he was a young man too,
That's
relatively.
pretty young.
It's tough in Japan. So what were we talking about? Okawa's, what we saw. So who is God? Okawa, so sorry, he's not off the hook on the COVID stuff. Okawa's vision of God is el cantare, a term borrowed from the Italian cantata that Happy Science defines as God sings. El cantare is a massive energy body that sends portions of his consciousness to Earth in the form of prophets and religious founders. In the form of prophets and religious founders. The belief that there is only one God has caused strife and hatred. The beings identified as gods on Earth are in fact avatars of the supreme God or elevated spirits. While there is only one supreme God, the existence of these elevated spirits argues against the exclusivity of monotheism. 330 million years ago, El Cantare made his first visit to Earth as the Avatar Alpha. Now, you might be... Mims, is this confusing you at all? Didn't I tell you kind of different stuff about how the universe got started?
Yeah.
No, like that's...
Yeah. If you go to their website today, some of what you will read there contradicts what the Laws of the Sun says in the anime, and I promise you, if you manage to get a hold of his thousands of pages of prophecy, there will be still further and deeper contradictions, even on these simple questions like the origin of the universe.
I never would have guessed.
Made his first visit to Earth, Alpha came to preach the laws to the people and disrupt serious conflict erupting across the planet. This conflict was the product of the arrival of space immigrants from Zeta of the Magellanic Clouds. Here's some overlap, right? These people in their ways threatened to upset Earth's culture, and so Alpha taught a truth that was right for Earth. I think it's interesting that Happy Science both unifies all religions under a single God, acknowledging all gods as one, and that Happy Science regards truth as kind of malleable.
Yeah.
Earth has an Earth truth, right?
But there's also a Venus truth.
Sure, it's a little different over there. God, it seems, adjusts the laws according to the planet, is what we're trying to say. So, God returned to Earth 150 million years ago as Elohim. Now, we are talking millions of years. Human civilization is not that old.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that's way before us.
Yeah, we
way
tend to talk
before us.
We talk in terms of like hundreds of thousands of years, right, for human civilization, and
This is millions.
we talked tens of thousands at best in terms of religion. So yeah, 150 million years ago, he came to Earth as Elohim. It was a time when the denizens of Earth turned away from matters of the spirit, causing what's now known as hell to form in the spirit world. Theoretically, we can merge this with the laws of the sun.
Yeah,
just like
it's
a different
kind
view.
of the same story, different like perspective of it.
Yeah, but I think it's interesting, Julian, that El Cantare, Elohim, we're identifying different protagonists than we had in Laws of the Sun. Elohim brought global justice, democracy, and faith by deciding between the various values brought to Earth by immigrants, that is, and visitors from outer space. He ruled from an egg-shaped palace in Saudi Arabia. One more time for those of you in the cheap seats. He ruled from an egg-shaped palace in Saudi Arabia.
I would do the same.
Beautiful.
Happy Science is full of these bizarre details. According to Okawa's Descent of Elohim, and I quote, "The city he lived in was known as the capital of water in Saudi Arabia.
In Saudi Arabia, an egg.
It was 150 million years ago, so come on.
It's fine.
Yeah, there might have been more water there.
It's basically level 3 in Mario 3. It was an international...
Fuck that world.
Where's my Wendy Koopa fans at? So, it was an international city with many foreign trades taking place. There was a residential district for space people. What the fuck? You gotta have a place for your space people, man.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
We can't just have them running roughshod. The city.
This isn't Star Wars.
It was near where Saudi Arabia is currently located. In an age, the Saudis, after all, had not been invented 150 million years ago. In an age when the values between Earthlings and space people began to create division and great confusion, Elohim drew a sharp line between good and evil on Earth and established global justice. During combat, Elohim grew white wings, I should say, and a ruby-colored third eye would open vertically and emit beams.
Badass.
Of course.
Yeah, where's that movie? Is that a movie, Julian?
I don't think I've ever seen that. I'm sure it is, though.
It sounds like it should.
TN
Well, you've seen...
from Dragon Ball.
it sounds right, like perfect anime, right?
Yeah.
You've seen 5, Julian. Are there
Yeah.
more?
Oh, there's like 20.
There's 20 of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
They're all produced, but Toei, like, there's not that many by them, right?
No.
There's just
A lot
handful.
of them were just like from smaller animations. Some of them were like short movies.
They paid animation houses to do these exclusively. Yeah, they always paid. Whew, yikes. 20. Well, so maybe that one's out there somewhere. Okay, so getting to Okawa, the third and most recent descent. Now, remember, I said third of El Cantare. So what do we do with all these other incarnations? I don't know. I think in part we have to say that, these ninth dimensional spirits, there are a variety of them. Remember, Amor is Jesus, Therabim is Confucius. So El Cantare is not Jesus. El Cantare is not Confucius. These are different spirits, different guys. Still cool. Still important.
Still chill.
Still chill.
Homies.
They can still come to the party. But yeah, they're not El Cantare. We've only seen El Cantare 3 times. And the third time is Master Ryoho Okawa. And this arrival has been prompted by a rise in atheism and materialism. A kind of revisionist Mappo, or, as my listeners, Mappo means Buddhist apocalypse, is working in the background of these 3 descents. Each time, the world loses the truth, and God arrives to correct it. This is a basic Buddhist principle. And listeners, just as a reminder, I know you've heard this before, but when we forget the teachings of the Buddha, then the Buddha returns. You see, the idea is that Sakyamuni Buddha has taught us, and when we cease as a species to be aware of what the Buddha taught, a new Buddha will arrive to keep the truth alive. So the world loses truth, God arrives to fix it, eternal Buddha, right? It is no surprise that Okawa identified himself as an avatar of the Buddha. I'm going to quote the brief list of society's greatest ills from Happy Science's perspective. The rise of democracy without God, coronavirus, natural disasters, wars, AI surveillance society, totalitarianism, nuclear weapons. All right, now guys, let's just go through this checklist. Let's see if you agree or disagree that these are good or... Okay, do you agree that these are the primary ills of society? We'll start with rise of democracy without God.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
now that's big a deal for you. Coronavirus.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that
Okay,
was a pretty big deal.
We'll say a half a point for rise of democracy without God.
It's like, I'm an anarchist. Like, I don't want any government.
Oh, okay.
So,
I see. So it's a complicated thing.
yeah.
Despite being religious, it has no business in the government.
Separation of church and state for you.
Yeah.
So we'll go with 0 on that one. But coronavirus, we're going to score that one too. Natural disasters,
That's a big deal.
it's bad.
Yeah.
We can all agree that's bad. Wars,
Pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
yeah, I'm pacifist. AI surveillance society.
Very bad.
Ooh, that sounds nasty, doesn't it?
Does that exist?
I think we're heading there, don't you?
Well, I think we're heading there. I wasn't aware that was happening.
Facial recognition and stuff.
Yeah.
It's all AI powered.
Flock cameras and all that kind of shit.
We're there,
Oh,
man.
boy.
You're living it. So we're going to go with like 3 or 4 points on that one.
Yeah.
Totalitarianism.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Nuclear weapons.
Definitely bad.
Okay, so it's hard to argue that any of these things are good for humanity, maybe with the exception of the separation of church and state, or the existence of a state in Julian's case. If more than half of the world's
I get it.
So, if more than half of the world's population lose belief in a higher power or God, then this will precipitate some form of cosmic repercussion that Okawa had been working to stave off. So, too many people are, being sucked up by these horrible things, and they're losing faith. And so Okawa's job is to restore faith, because if more than half of the population, remember what Earth does, it like bucks us off. It gets mad at us and kills a bunch of us. So he's trying to prevent a huge natural disaster. I mean, there's been natural disasters, and, that's bad. That's on the list. But,
I
cataclysmic
wonder their view
event.
on, climate change.
I think that probably is the natural disasters. I think that's
Yeah.
encompassed by that. But I think that climate change works, Julian, insofar as there's this belief in climate science to some extent. It is just a belief. I'm willing to say this. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of science behind it, right? And clearly the weather is getting worse. But there's debate over just how bad, right? Like what it looks like. Yeah. And there is a belief, right, that the day after tomorrow kind of scenario where the Earth just hits a certain temperature and everything tilts upside down. So that works too. Like Okawa is trying to stop that day after tomorrow scenario from happening. So he claims the assistance of 500 prominent spirits in this work, and we've heard the names of some of them. As El Cantare, Okawa claimed to be the purest incarnation of the eternal Buddha on Earth. His disciples have been reincarnated across millennia to be able to achieve an apotheosis with him. He is our last great defense against the day after tomorrow. And he is, in this reading of his ministry, the culmination of all history. All right, gentlemen, one at a time now. I can get your response. Maybe let's start with Mims, my everyman. Your response to Happy Science. Are you in or are you out? That's what I'm asking, sir.
I mean, for that price...
it's a good price.
That...
It really just drives you in. Again, you can get free emails from them.
They had you at 1,000 yen.
I'm a sucker for a bargain.
You didn't need all this stuff about Hermes and Jesus.
Nah, that doesn't matter.
The reborn Buddha. You heard 1,000 yen and you said, all right, cool. Wait. Let me ask this. Dangerous or not dangerous?
I don't think that they're inherently dangerous. Eccentric. They could be, but as they are now, I don't believe they are.
It seems pretty harmless, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The belief system, the greatest danger is that they might be a little misleading. Maybe more than a little misleading theologically. The spirit may go
it's
a bit
not
off
worse
track.
than Scientology, and Scientology is way worse in that department.
Exactly. In the grand scheme of this kind of thing.
They're not really doing anything that's gonna hurt a lot of people.
Yeah, I'd suggest that in centering Buddhism, as they've tended to do lately, they're doing pretty good. They're getting at spiritual principles that are fairly universal insofar as Buddhism, Christianity, right? The white light religions all tend to share these basic ideas, right? So they've sanitized themselves, but there's still a whole lot of madness. But the madness, I don't know, maybe it's not such a terrible thing if it leads people to the white lighty, deeper compassion, love for others, selflessness. I mean, these are all very good things.
Yeah.
It's just possible to get caught up on Hermes and Lamu and
just be like, what is going on?
Yeah, I mean,
how
that's
does
true.
this
of
get me
Christianity.
to enlightenment?
This could happen to a Christian or a Buddhist just as well, right? You could get caught up in
if you think about it, almost all of like the Christian, like Paradise Lost and, you know, Dante's Inferno, like that's basically the same thing as that Happy Science is doing.
Yeah.
It's just larger and over a longer period of time.
Complex lore, just stretching out that lore. Yeah, so maybe it's not so bad after all. I see, that was my problem, right? As I was going through this, they are regarded as a cult by some folks, and they certainly are in conversation with Aum Shinrikyo and these sorts of guys. But there's no comparison in my mind. They're nothing like that. They're a bit silly, but they seem like a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're just some guys.
It's just like a tiny little puppy that's just a little weird sometimes, and then a big fucking dragon that's killing people.
Exactly.
It's like they're not comparable.
But what's interesting is the puppy's still alive, and the dragon, you know,
has been slain a long time ago.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, I think it would be interesting for us to revisit Aum Shinrikyo's current terrorist organizations. I don't know. We're about to leave Japan. I think I've got maybe one more episode in me for this topic, but I think it would be interesting to come back. I mean, Nichiren Buddhism, I was having an exchange with a listener on Nichiren, and, you know, these new religious movements, you know, we just sort of scratched the surface on so many of these things.
And they're always evolving. They
are. Every culture is so fascinating and unique. I think what's most fascinating about Japan from an American is how much of American culture they have, you know, absorbed while at the same time completely transformed, right? As we were talking about in anime.
Yeah, and also like Western movies, like the cowboy movies. That was invented in Japan.
Right.
The Japanese did it first.
Movies,
Yeah. And then we were like, that's cool, we're taking that.
Yeah, and we invented their animation, and then they created a completely different thing.
And then we were like, oh my god, your animation's better than ours.
Yeah, we came back for it in the 90s, right? Yeah, the cultural exchange between the countries is so fascinating. There's just so much more to talk about. So yes, maybe some listeners are tired of hearing about Japan, and so we're about done. But for those of you who are sad that we're on our way out of Japan, we got one left. Yeah, well, I think I'll come back. I will come back. I'm fascinated by Japanese culture. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's cool.
It's cool. I hereby adjourn and declare close this meeting of the Secret Order of Alchemical Actors until such time as we get together and do it again. You've been listening to Andrew Mims, whose title could not be spoken on this show.
Bye, guys. See you later.
Although he is our resident anime expert, I suppose.
Of course.
That we can speak aloud. And Julian Dobbs, this was his idea.
Yeah. Hi guys. I'm happy I got to do it.
Fault,
Finally.
It's his fault.
2 years. 2 years of bothering you about it, like every couple of months being like, oh, like you're looking for episodes, Happy Science.
It's gonna take me like 1,000 hours of TV and movies to get those CGI angels out of my head, man.
They were really bad.
Mims has got to recommend like 10 more shows.
They had some weird CGI orbs in Laws of the Sun. They just kept on using them over and over and over again.
Bro, I love me some weird orbs.
Mims, you want to drop us another anime recommendation on our way out the door here, Mims?
I've been rewatching The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya.
Okay, The Melancholia Paravisu Sumiya.
Haruhi Suzumiya.
Haruhisu.
So,
got you.
Yeah.
You got anything to recommend, Julian?
Oh God, not really.
All right, next time.
I mean, hey, if you're looking for a classic anime that kind of invented Studio Ghibli, you should watch Lupin the Third.
Oh yeah,
all right.
That's
all
good
of them.
shit.
There you go.
They're all great.
When we come back, I'm finally going to do my Nintendo episode. I do have a book that I've been working on or shopping up for a publisher for on occultism and Nintendo. And so I will be discussing Princess Peach for an hour or so.
Yay!
Oh,
Here,
fuck yeah.
here on Occult Confessions.